Hi there, thanks for joining me. Today I am creating a layout for Hip Kit Club using the fabulous October kits. This week I've been set a personal challenge to create a monochromatic layout. Actually, which is no easy task for me, probably is for everybody else. So I've gone along with the kind of pinky colours, and I'm taking it that I can use shades of pink to still fit within the theme. I'm actually going to scrap an old photo of my daughter in the park. She looks really cute in this photo. So I think the colours in the autumnal kit work together really well. So I've just laid down some watercolour paint on my background, and I'm actually going to use the Lindy's Magicals that I received with the September kits to add a little bit more colour and depth. As you can see, I've mixed the Magicals with some water, and I am painting on the background with a paintbrush. So I am not the best at mixed media by any stretch of your imagination. I hate the way it warps my paper, so I was reluctant. So I'm stretching myself here to do a little bit of mixed media on the background. As I let each layer dry, I think you get different shades appear more distinctly. So I'm just going back in with my original shade now to add a bit more depth using the watercolours. And the other thing I'm really good at is doing a lovely background and then covering it all up with my photos and papers. So I was making a concerted effort to actually let that show through. Inside the main kit this month, we had the Avenue Jen Hadfield collection. We had the die cuts, the die cut ephemera. They're really cute. There's lots of little houses and little nature themed items in there. And as this was a park, a photo from the park, I thought it would be great just to include some of the little trees and houses and some of the outdoorsy type things in the kit. And the paper I'm cutting up here, you can see I've already used a bit of it, was one of the exclusives from the October main kit. It's called Softly Quilted. And it's my favourite paper. It has like a rusty coloured pattern on one side and this beautiful pink quilted pattern on the other. So I was going to use every little single scrap of that paper because, as I say, it was one of my favourites. The quality is beautiful. It's really thick and great to work with. So I'm going along with this border idea to create a vertical border down one side. And what you can see I'm doing here actually is, I told you I can't stand warped paper, so I'm actually using a bit of spare cardboard that I've got. You could use a cereal box or something like that just to flatten the paper down. I get a bit OCD about flat paper. So I've gone along with that border, the softly quilted border, and I folded it over to give it a little bit more detail. Roughed up the edges a little bit. I made a little tear. Just add a bit more interest really, rather than having a flat border. And I'm then going to sew that fold down, just because it kept popping up anyway. And that would be a great way then to add a bit more interest to the background. So I'm just doing some simple cross stitches. I'm trying to give it a homespun feel really, so nothing too neat and too technical. But I think this is just a great way to add some interest to your layouts without any additional weight. It's very cheap to use embroidery floss. So a little embroidery floss goes a long, long way. I think it just adds, just that little homely feel, as I say, quite easily. So here's where I am arranging my elements, and I'll go backwards and forwards. And I had this kite idea in my head because it was a park, and I love the little kites and little bows that go with them. So I cut a kite out of that beautiful paper, my favourite paper, but used the reverse side this time. And I've sewn around it then just to add a bit more texture to it. I originally gone with the idea of having several, each section being in a different pattern paper, but it was a bit of a disaster when I tried to put it together, so hence why it's a plain colour in the final layout. So you can see I cut out the tags. That was the Simple Stories Cozy Days collection, and there's a sheet of paper there, a cut apart paper, and it has, I counted 15 tags on it, and they're reversible, so there's like 30 different designs, which I think is fantastic for one piece of paper, and I do love a tag. Just add a bit more detail. I'm just using some distress ink to and some sort of distressed stamps to add a bit more detail to my background, a bit more texture, and then I'm going to stick everything down. So it's always the faff with me. I just take hours to position things, move things about. So there is a heck of a lot of that whenever you watch one of my videos. So as not to bore you to pieces though, I do try and cut out the bits that are a complete waste of time. So hopefully it's just getting to the point where I'm going to assemble everything. So I'm having those tags stick out the back, and so that you can put your journaling inside those tags, I'm only adhering the matting papers and the photo on the outside edges so that the tags can pop in and out, which is my favourite way of adding journaling to a layout. I'm never keen, for whatever reason, on the journaling facing outwards. I would rather have it hidden away. Maybe I just need to get over that, make my layouts feel a bit different. So now I've got those stick down, I'm just going to assemble my kite. I've just cut the kite out by hand, so a simple diamond shape, and then I've added a bit of twine or thread for the tail, and I'm just going to hand cut some tiny bows out of that lovely quilted paper. I told you I really liked it. There are lots of other lovely papers in the kit, but I'm kind of saving those for my next layouts, I think. And because it's monochromatic, I think it was easier to just work with a small number of papers so that I could stick within that monochromatic theme. So I say hand cutting those little tiny bows out and then gluing those into place over the tail of the kite. Oh, exciting. And so I'm just also talk about the ephemera that is in that the avenue. As I say, there are cute little houses and trees, and there's a snail there. Some people can be afraid to use some of the specific themed items because a snail's got nothing to do with anything. But I just say go with the flow. They're there, they're cute. Just have them anyway. So I think, when I'm layering up embellishments, I always like to overlap them so they're just peeking out. I think that gives a more cohesive kind of look, so it's much easier to pull together make things work together when they're overlapping. So I think that's everything. So I also fussy cut some of the flowers from the marigold paper that was in the kit this month. That's crepe paper marigold, just to add a little bit more detail. And I'm going to finish off the layout with my title. That's the gold puffy stickers, also from the Avenue. I'm going to have it at a jaunty angle for a change. It's hard sometimes just to be, to have things different. And to find having a small title at an angle, will just make things feel a bit different to the norm. So I'm just centering those up by it says enjoy the ride or enjoy your ride. So I'm just starting in the middle and working my way outwards with that, just so it's kind of lined up nicely. I love those stickers, they're just really awesome. We had some of the different ones last month, and you can see, I think I might use, this is from last month's main kit, I think it was, and there's not many left in mine because I went to town with them, they're so lovely. So I did add a few from last month just to finish things off. And that's it. I'll leave you with some close-ups of the layout. I hope you enjoyed watching my process. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram as Cropcat and sign up to the YouTube channel. Thank you. See you soon.